And it works! It succeeds! We're alive! Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Toonkind FPS! Whoop whoop! I do love my whoop whoops. But I am your humble Vwild, and I have one of the characters today, and I'm joined by my absolutely fantastic Sib, wonderful person, holder of many laws, fantastic all-around being, and excellent storyteller.
Hi, I'm RJ.
I have zero regrets. Alright, we should also probably introduce characters. I'm playing the monkey, Lin.
And I'm playing Asclepius, and hopefully no one else. We shall see how this goes.
I have no intention of going. I think we should get all the council right now. Let's see if we can get any of the wild accents in here.
Fucking hell.
No. Hey, you do brilliant accents, and it's a delight to see. Got a cowboy. Alright, but it's one of those days. It's a good day, I think, all in all. It doesn't seem as though there's anything too urgent as we set our scene. Let's zoom in on one of our party today. Let's zoom in on our certain furball. How's Asclepius doing on this genuinely normal day?
Uh, Probably alright, to be honest. He's in his garden tending to his plants, as he is wont to do. Um, this time he's headed to a slightly different section of the garden than he normally goes to, because it's time to harvest the graves for tea. So he's headed to the cemetery portion.
Oh, marvelous. That is rather intriguing. I mean, you know it's logical, but at the same time, ooh. Pretty effective. Probably got quite a few good blooms. I mean, good year in general. At some point, as he's doing this, would he like to roll perception?
He can roll perception, yep. What the fuck is your perception modifier again, my guy?
Stupid high.
I mean, yes, but not as stupid high as his insight. That's a 28.
Alright. Lin, I don't think can roll high enough to stealth, and she's not actually trying, so it's just partway through everything as he's working, there will be almost a flicker of gold just at the very edge of his vision. Like, kind of decent distance, as though the person isn't planning on sneaking, but there's only one person you know that's bright, blooming gold.
That's very true. I think he doesn't like pause in what he's doing. Just kind of glances over and tilts his head like, are you staying over there, or do you want to come help me?
And you do see her now properly, where she has come into the garden. And yeah, she isn't trying to hide, but it is kind of that respectful distance of she wasn't going to interrupt. But on seeing you just like give that gesture, you do see her ears and her tail perk up slightly as she's coming over. Hasn't said anything yet. Does seem as though she's having a good sketch day though, at least. Well, relative compared to her. And she does just silently come over, give a quick look, try to see what to do.
Okay. Roll. Would this be nature or would this be survival? You can roll either, whichever's higher.
Nature. There we go. That is... Hey, nice! 17 plus 8.
Ooh. That's pretty good.
She does take...
That's a total of what, 25?
Yeah. She does take a straight up moment observing before she starts doing anything. She has got good eyes for details.
Ooh, okay. All right. Well, Asclepius is currently crouched, knelt in front of a lavender bush, and he is plucking sprigs of lavender, and laying them in a little woven basket by his side. Um, and as you glance in the basket, there's some other kinds of balloons. There's some other kinds of leaves. You can spot chamomile in there. You can spot some hibiscus. There's like there's some fucking, what the hell is the name of the thing? Tea leaves, man. I I don't know as much about tea as like hex or whirl. Just imagine I'm saying the tea things. But these are all fresh plucked leaves. Although some have been separated out from each other, there's like bundles. You're not quite sure why they're bundled like that, but they're bundled with different colored twine, so you assume there's probably a reason. Um,
She's got a potential thought on it, but she's got a habit of keeping deductions to herself until she can definitely prove, and so it's just file it away. There is like a slight, not quite nose wrinkle, but just she knows what hibiscus tastes like in tea sometimes, and it can be very good, or it can be very irony, and there is almost the little reaction on her face of just she likes it, but also she knows people eat hibiscuses. Her uncle, her uncle literally just eats them by the flower. Munch.
Goodness. He does catch that and gives a little chuckle. Um, and goes, "Would you mind carrying the basket for me?"
Sure, happy to help. And she does just reach. Is this basket his size, or is it like normal? Either
It's
way.
it's a little bit large in her hands, but it's not a big basket by his standards. It's like it's it's like the size. It's big enough that you could fit an A4 stack of paper in it, like that kind of width and length. A little bit rounded on the corners just because of the weaving pattern. But it's not supposed to be a big basket. It's only small.
She does pick it up and kind of just hold it in front of her, so she can kind of inspect the flowers inside of it. But basically, like she's holding it in both arms, almost a hug of it. In all honesty.
Yeah. I mean, there is a carrying handle, but you can hug it if you'd like. It smells very floral, very planty. It's nice.
Exact reason why she does it. Close, close proximity to the good sense.
Nice. He finishes plucking some lavender. There's still a lot of lavender on the plant. He's taken maybe 10% of the sprigs. You get the feeling that's probably intentional to avoid, overtaking and killing the plant.
Makes sense.
Stands up, brushes his hands off. There's still some loose dirt in like the crevices of his palms and fingers, but most of the loose dirt is brushed off, and he takes up his staff and gestures with his head to head back toward the house.
And she immediately follows. Very careful with the basket, because this monkey moves fast, but you can tell she's taking care not to jostle, because flowers can be delicate and we're not losing any.
Yeah.
Looks a good harvest.
The plants have been very kind recently.
That's good. We do some kindness.
Hmm. What kind of tea are you thinking today?
Ooh. Oh, tricky choice with good options. Eh, you, however, are very fond of lavender, I know.
That's true.
So, I think that's a good blend, especially fresh. Just don't make me munch on any hibiscus, please.
No.
I'm not,
I
I'm not
did
like,
catch that look.
I
Thinking
am not. Oh.
lavender base and a chamomile on top.
Ooh,
Might be a bit too relaxing. We'll figure it out.
indeed. We got time. We got choices.
Hmm.
As they're moving, Lynn does just like for one moment just headbutt him in the leg. Just she can't hug at this moment because she's a fool, but she also wants to say hi, and so like a cat, there's just the headbutt. Right. So we take these and we boil the shit out of them.
Not yet.
Ah.
He got you back into the kitchen, and he opens one of the cupboards and pulls out a different basket. This one's got a lid. And you can see there's enchantments woven into the basket itself. And when he opens it, there's flowers in there, and leaves in there, just like the kinds he's just picked. And he sorts um they're in like little containers in the basket. So he pulls out the containers, puts the fresh stuff at the bottom with the older stuff on top. But it all looks still fairly fresh, and you think that's probably what the enchantments are for. But notably, he doesn't pile all the leaves in there. Some of them go in, ones with the green twine, but the ones with grey twine and black twine um, are left out on the side. And he closes the basket again and goes, "Those need to oxidize a bit, so we'll leave them out a little while."
Ah. Ah. Fascinating. Different subject than I'm used to. Guess it brings out flavour, right?
It can do. Um, the difference between a green tea and a black tea is how oxidized the leaves are. With green teas, you want to heat the leaves pretty soon after they're plucked, but the enchantments on the basket will keep them fresh. Black teas, you want to let the leaves sit a while before you heat them, and it makes the flavor stronger and increases the caffeine content.
Oh. Oh, that is fascinating. Yeah, I'll have to remember that. Thanks for telling me. One of the lucky 10,000, I think. Is that the phrase nowadays?
Maybe. I know I've heard Ava use it a couple times.
Ah, marvellous. Alright, so you leave those to oxidize, and hopefully, nothing happened to them. Chaos is due. Uh, I know Gibbs has been going on the counter to get in the cupboard. It is a good cupboard. And, well, this is already your kitchen, and we already have Kara minding it, so no foxtrot. Ah!
I wouldn't recommend drinking foxtrot tea unless you're somehow immune to poisons.
Yeah, alas and alack, not yet.
That yet makes me concerned.
I have no intention of trying it out.
Good.
I I have been a fool one too many times in my life. That's not one I plan on revisiting. Alright, so we got these ones out on the side. And by the way, mind if I ask why they're bundled this way? Like the different coloured twines. I got an idea, but I like hearing from the source.
The green twine is for green tea. The gray and black are both black teas, but they're from different trees.
Oh. Hmm. Good way of doing it. Good structure. And again, you've been doing this for a heck of a long time, I presume.
Oh, about 150 years? I think I started 20, 30 years after Jacques and I met.
Damn.
It took a while to cultivate the trees to the point where we could harvest them regularly.
Hmm. And hey, he's produced something brilliant. I mean, tea's good.
That's true.
Hmm. Alright, so these ones are on the side. That's there. My mind, it does tend to wander. Oh, do we need cups? Or I'm gonna get cups.
We will, yes, if you could, that would be great. And he's grabbing the kettle, filling it up, setting it on the stove, to boil.
Mm-hmm. I hope I'm not interrupting your day or anything by coming in. I didn't hear anything, but
I didn't have much planned today.
oh, good. It's one of the few days I don't have anything on either. It's cases of winding down nowadays for me. I'm taking less, and Rye's taking more. Bright kid. My picking kid's so picking bright. And she is just going rummaging in the cupboard. She's been in this kitchen now long enough to start knowing where stuff is properly. So she is just gonna go and get, but she is beaming. Little tail swishies.
Scorpius does smile as she starts going on about Rye.
Mm.
Listening intently as he picks out what tea to make. He does pick out some lavender, but he also picks out some Earl Grey to go along with it as a base.
Nice. And Lynn does absolutely start rambling because Rye has been doing so much recently and he's making friends. He went to a paint fest, he turned one of his cousins into a chihuahua. I'm so pecking proud of him. He's an absolute chaos bringer. It's great. He's a stagehand through and through. It's marvelous.
He's learned from the best.
Oh, he'll go even better. He'll go even further. I mean, heck. Oh, the chaos he's going to start bringing to this town as April Fool's rolls around again.
He'll find himself in good company.
The best. Let's see. Yeah, everything on my end's going pretty decently. How about you?
Things are not necessarily relaxing, but people are starting to adjust.
Indeed. Well, that's good to hear. We take our peace where we can find it, eh?
True.
And hey, at least for the moment, it does seem as though, well, seems as though it's settling just a little bit. We can take it. Alright. Oh, good cups. And she does just pull them out, and she also just, as she's doing so, goes, oh, by the way, I brought cookies.
Ooh.
And for once, I was able to crown network to the perfect, so they're not even slightly singed. It's impressive when I managed to do that. We've been practicing for years. Every now and then, network still gets excited, and then all of a sudden, there's a reason why we have a spare fire extinguisher. And she does like put the cups down, goes into fumble.
Oh no.
Fucking serious. And she just start carry on talking, and then she stops and goes, son of a biscuit. Hang on. Don't you laugh at me. Rolls. What's this one? That is... Oh! Needle felt pumpkin. Pulls it out. Looks at it and goes, I keep pulling you out. I've got other needle felts. However, you are precious and I love you. Puts it, like, holds it up to Asclepius, puts it down. Another fumble.
It is very... Oh my goodness. It is very well made.
Thank you. Turns out stabbing the shit out of things to make new things. Very therapeutic.
Catharsis.
Exactly. I'm gonna roll more. Okay, we get 3 more.
Fucking Christ. He is, I think, as you're fumbling these things out, the water's boiling, so he puts the water in the teapot, puts the leaves into the infuser in the teapot, lets it steep, because this is the kind of thing that needs to steep for a couple minutes.
Nice.
He just watches you fumble this stuff out.
I swear to picking gods. And she pulls out a cheese knife, a big one, and she's just like, I was wondering where that went. Puts it down, pulls out her own tea kettle with a nice blue one with a calligraphied heck on the side in beautiful golden cursive.
He does snort at that.
It's fancy. It's gonna be great at tea parties. Pulls out a goddamn anvil made out of Grawlix! I forgot I gave her that.
There's just a mild language as she pulls that out.
Ah, pick, it's fine. I can swear more than this. This is actually made out of my Grawlix. It's great.
Yeah, no, I believe that.
It was so much fun to make. That was a very good swear session. I enjoyed that. And then at last, she pulls out the cookies and actually holds them aloft in the holy shit, we finally got there.
Do.
Picking fantastic. Alright. I should just hold them up for inspection. They are jack-o'-lantern shaped. It's like Jammy Dodgers, like sort of filled ones, but they're little jack-o'-lanterns. She likes her themes. And today, there were no octopi coming out of Hamspace.
That sounds like a story.
It is. I technically don't have the octopus anymore. His name was Harold. There was a whole thing. He used to just keep jumping at my face. Me and Harold didn't get on. I liked Harold. We did not get along. Actually, that's a lie. I didn't like Harold. Harold didn't like me. He's with you now.
There's a pause and then a quiet. All right.
Yeah, he was a bit of a what's the word? Disney princess. He can befriend anything. It's actually pretty astounding. I didn't realize Harold could befriend anyone, and yet here we were. But cookies. Puts them delicately down on the table, and then just sits.
Nice.
Probably not on the table, which was her initial thought, because yes, she likes to be tall, but there are stools for a reason.
There are stools for a reason. And in the time that you've been fumbling those, Asclepius has also adjusted one of the stools to be as high as it can go, which is perfectly fitting for your height.
There is a happy little noise from Lynn at that. And hey, because for once she'd been going from counter to table to chair, it wasn't a mad scramble to get up on top of the chair for once.
That's true. He does turn away a moment to grab a plate to put the cookies on. Offers to you if you'd like to do that while he finishes making the tea.
Chicken fantastic. Thank you. And she does just start stacking them. It's a diligent little stack. She gets her joy where she can.
Nice.
And what she's done, she does give a little fluff, little shake, little. She does roll her shoulders, and there is the little clicking noise, but it doesn't sound as though it's a bad one. Just as though it's this monkey keeps doing this.
A cup is pushed toward her. So there's a kind of citrusy florally scent from it. From the Earl Grey and from the lavender.
Oh, now that looks good.
I try.
And she does say thank you in giant as she takes her first sip. Just does blow on it and stuff, and then just a good sippy.
Nice.
And you can see her relax immediately. Just it's nice.
I take it you don't want milk or sweetener then?
No, not particularly. Well, do for some, but nah, I like taking it straight.
Fair enough.
What about you?
He also declines. This particular one, the lavender takes the edge off the Earl Grey just enough that I don't really think it needs anything.
Well, then we both have excellent taste.
I would hope so. I've had a century and a half to cultivate mine.
Ah! God. Yeah, God, that is. I'm not saying you're old at the same time. Holy pick, that's a long time. I mean, not as old as my uncle, but pretty pecking close. Good time to cultivate skills.
True. Although, with an extended lifespan does come an extended rate of maturity. Firbolg, at the very least, Firbolg of my conclave aren't considered adults until they've reached their 30th year.
Oh. Huh. Fascinating. And conclave. That's word for family back where you're from, I presume.
I suppose it is. It's just what we're called.
What were they like, or are like?
Are. He pauses a moment, a little bit lost in thought, and then goes, on a map, we're about as far away from the conclave as you can get. Of course, the world is not so flat. Rancor is actually one of the closer continents.
Oh. Fascinating. Is it nice over there? Well, I'm presuming it is, seeing as nice folks from there, but
Laitaro is big, but the area that the conclave live in, it's mostly wild. We rove between two areas. Temperate forests and more tundra areas, depending on the time of the year.
fascinating. So, nomadic? Is that the right word?
Yes.
Ah. And well, I guess tundra and that sort of stuff. You got the fur adapted for it? Is everyone back there a furbog, or?
No. The majority are, I should say. But we take in adventurers of all kinds. Sometimes just for a rest, sometimes to stay.
Oh.
I don't believe there are any tunes that far out.
Makes sense. It's away from Anquilla. Become very sparse species. No, one or two, but yeah.
I believe Decimal? Is that his name?
Yes, indeed.
He is one of
Uh,
the few.
hmm. Fascinating. I know some people from far out Fort Sana, I believe that's how it's pronounced. And I know some good kids from there. Bless, it's not the best for toons to perform there, bless them. Not because of any damage, just the magic there is not great.
Hmm. I have been to Vwild once, and I think that was enough for me.
Mm,
Their
indeed, especially
religious views are interesting, but they do not mesh well with my own. Especially not now.
mm, yeah, that makes sense. Grave cleric.
Well, not necessarily that. Grave
Mm,
clerics are custodians of the grave. We help the transition between life and death. I know of grave clerics who take a hard stance against undead, who see them as unnatural things to be
ah,
destroyed. I don't think it's that simple. Death in all its forms is natural. And sometimes that death is not in the way that most people think of it. Sometimes that life is not in the way most people think of it.
mm, indeed. A
But
good way of thinking about it.
I'd like to think so.
Hmm.
But where my beliefs and where Fort Sanon's beliefs differ greatly is in how the dead should be remembered. Fort Sanon is of the opinion that they should not be. That you should not remember those who have passed, that you should not speak their names, as it keeps them trapped in their cycles.
Indeed.
However, I believe that you should remember them. The memorials are important to the living as well as the dead.
Mm, quite right. I I know they do have a holiday in the year where they talk about past cycles, people they hold dear, but it is something I agree with you on, and something I keep close to my chest when around little Leo.
Mm-hmm. But it has never been my place to speak poorly of others' beliefs. It's not helpful, it's often just rude. So,
Indeed. Each to their own in a way.
mm.
Roll me insight if you like.
Yeah, happily. Da 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 da. That is, I think that's 29. That's 29.
With a 29, as you both started talking about Fortnan and the dead, there was a look that was in Lynn's eyes. She was still smiling, but she was certainly thinking on someone. Maybe someone's, but there was grief in it, but also peace with it, as she was thinking on whoever it is. And you do also notice, as the conversation's gone on, there have been a few points where she's almost seemed to think to say something, but then kept it close. Not in a bad way or anything, just in a, you know this monkey, sometimes she doesn't articulate her thoughts out. Sometimes the monkey just keeps everything inside, and then one day thinks to say them.
Mm-hmm. I think with the lull in conversation that occurs, then he does take a slow sip of his tea, and make a gesture with his hand, like kind of go on kind of gesture, and say, if you have questions, feel free to ask.
You can read me like an open book, eh? Yeah, I've got a few questions. Always the hard part, articulating them. In fact, I'm a toon. I'm allowed to have a shenanigan. Would you permit me to say a shenanigan? I'm not swearing at you, but I know this is a way to ask it, and I find it amusing.
You needn't worry about offending me, if that's what you mean.
Great. Okay. And she does stand up on the seat, and she just goes, I have been wondering certain questions for a while. Tell me the name of your god, you fungal piece of shit! It's a sentence I've wanted to say for ages, and you don't know how to articulate it, so you just keep it in your chest. And now I get to say it.
He's just quietly wheezing into his tea.
She is absolutely beaming. Just,
Well, fungi are very important. They don't make for great tea. I'd rather think I'd be a floral piece of shit.
you can be a floral piece of shit if you like. I think the only thing that fungi, well, mushrooms, are mushrooms a fungi? I know you can make alcohol out of them. Very earthy, very each to their own. But
Yes,
anyway,
mushrooms are
we'll get
fungi.
into it.
But
Ha
to get back on track, that is a question that requires a little bit of context.
Oh, I always love context. Hit me. And she does swing back into sitting down. Oh, please don't fumble this time. Yay! She pulls out a little journal and she just plonk it down in front of her, just like, tell me.
Alright. Whilst the Conclave is one of the names for my people, we have a name in Giant. And he says something in Giant, and you know Giant, so you know that this translates roughly to those of the four faces.
Hmm.
The name comes from our patron deity. We are custodians of the land in which we roam, but there is a central belief. We pay homage to the land, but we pay homage to the ones who have placed us there too. His name is Tetranus, and he has four faces, each corresponding to one of the different seasons. I, myself, follow Tetranus Noctis, the face of winter.
Oh.
Most in the Conclave tend to follow one of the faces, and they each have their own celebration day, usually in the midpoint of their season. But the Herdmaster, the leader of the Conclave, worships all four equally. You know, it's funny. Before I left on my pilgrimage, there was speak of me becoming the next Herdmaster. I wouldn't have thought it wise at the time. I never saw myself as a leader, but, well, it's kind of gestures to where they are.
Indeed. Sometimes you find yourself in that position, even if you didn't realize it at first.
Mm.
So, Noctis, that's winter and that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Wait, do you say Noctis or is it Tetranus Noctis? I don't want to accidentally butcher stuff here. It's fascinating to learn about.
Either is fine. I tend to say Tetranus Noctis, personally, but that's just preference. There is no offense in shortening the name. Though if you do mean one of the faces specifically, Tetranus alone refers to the whole.
Uh-huh. Hmm. So, is Noctis specific to grave clerics? Or what's related within that?
Other way around.
Huh.
Tetranus Noctis. Well, 4 is a very important number in our worship. There are 4 seasons, there are 4 faces. Each face has 4 domains. Tetranus Noctis has the domains of sleep, death, dreams, and memory.
Hmm. Ah. I can see the overlap in relation. Then more wide thoughts on that. Yeah. Fascinating.
Of the other 4 faces, Vitrus is the face of spring, with the domains of renewal, family, life, and light. Bellius is the face of summer, with the domains of battle, glory, poetry, and music. And Cognitus is the face of autumn, with the domains of knowledge, nature, magic, and chaos. Just to round out your notes.
She's looking at you almost with these not quite sparkle eyes, but the person you can tell Lynn likes knowledge. She likes learning things, and she likes learning things about people she cares about. She's looking you dead in the eye, and yeah, she is writing. I'm gonna see whether she's using her other hand today as well. Yes, she is. She is. It's subtle. It doesn't look as though it's something to draw attention to, but oh yeah, she is writing with both hands. And you have her full attention. She's intrigued.
Pictronus Cognitus would be very impressed by you, I think.
I'm one of good talents. Don't think I'm quite something to catch the eyes of the gods. Well, technically I have, but I like being down to earth.
There are many benefits in being grounded. However, I would not say it is such a bad thing to have caught the attention of those above us.
Guess it can have its bad.
I am aware that it is not always a pleasant experience, but There can be comfort in knowing someone is watching over you. That's how I see it.
Indeed. If they care, it could be nice.
Hmm.
Is I admit, I guess in some ways I was curious. Is because from what I know with my family and that sort of stuff, nominal not nominal determination, that sort of thing. But stagehand family, other people, that sort of thing. I is Ash a common surname within it all, or are you all part of one big family?
How do I put this? You've seen the lycanthrope packs, yes?
Mm-hmm.
There are different sects within them, shall we say. Different lines and bloodlines. The same is true of the Conclave, too.
Oh, fascinating. I mean, I gotta admit, out of everything that I've ever learned, bloodlines was one of the things that confused the pick out of me. Because just we don't really have bloodlines within my family. It's
Mm.
adoption lines, yes, which get hella confusing. I mean, hella confusing. We are a mushroom colony when we're not a family tree. I am technically an auntie of many people, and it gets confusing as hell. There's a reason why we all call each other cousin.
I'd rather think you'd understand the Conclave more than you think, then. Bloodlines don't matter much to us. We are communal. Children are raised by the entire Conclave.
Mm-hmm.
The surname that is given is preference, really. Some people are very appreciative of the aesthetic.
And, well, your name's a good one. Good alliteration to it.
There is a distinctly proud glint to his smile as he takes another sip of his tea.
Well then. It's a wonderful name to pick.
Mm.
Circling around, yeah, I do tend to circle around on topics. I do like biting at the ankles of things.
Mm.
Your holy symbol. Wait, is that something I'm okay with asking about? I know some religions and cultures and stuff, you don't talk about that sort of thing.
Oh no, it's perfectly fine.
Hmm.
He kind of untucks the holy symbol from his shirt where he tucked it away to avoid getting mud all over it. What about it?
I guess two parts to it. One, is it different per what's different per face? Different per yeah, that's how you put it. Different per face, or I almost want to say the wood looks as though it's from Anquil, but I can't be right on that. So,
It is.
oh,
There's no standardized symbology for any face of Tetranus. More often than not, people will put some kind of symbolism of quadrants or some kind of repetition of four. Like here, and he taps the roses. There's four roses engraved in this in on this tombstone. Um, but that's not a requirement by any stretch of the means. This holy symbol was made for me by Jacques. when we asked to marry each other.
Oh.
It is commonplace within the conclave. Instead of exchanging rings, you exchange holy symbols. Each holy symbol is customized to their wearer, rather than to any face. So I gave Jacques a ring, and he gave me a holy symbol.
Ah. Oh, that's beautiful. Fine craftsmanship from him. Expect nothing less. He's very good.
He is. I am blessed every day to have him.
Just as he is to have you. We're all lucky to have you. You've probably got quite a lot of stories with him throughout the years, eh? I mean,
yes, quite a few.
how did you two meet, if I might ask? Like, he's told me about the proposal. That was rather fun. But come on, what else you spooks got?
Well, like I said, I was on pilgrimage. Although the conclave is nomadic, we don't tend to travel very far afield from the areas where we live. Part of it is duty to the land we caretake. Part of it is we travel as part of our daily lives while we wish to go further. But every so often, usually the children of adventurers get it in their heads that they want to go and find themselves, find their life in some wild adventure. Most travel light area. Some, like I did, go even further afield.
Mm-hmm.
I just come from Hiruma. I went through Toontown. Well, I'd stopped at Happiest Place first, but it was too busy there for my tastes. Especially after the cities of Hiruma, I was unimpressed. So I traveled through Gisnep, passing through Toontown and Knickknack, and several other places besides. No particular direction in mind, just wandering. And eventually, my wanderings brought me to Halloween Town. And I was curious. Because I found real kind here, the kind that I hadn't seen since arriving in Einquell. Monsters and things that would normally be hunted, living in peace. I wanted to know how. I wanted to know why.
Always good to find these things out.
Mm.
Leads you to interesting answers.
That's very true. It was more different than anything I'd ever encountered. And as I stepped into the town, I had a realization that I couldn't put into words until several years later. But there was a shift. And in my bones, I knew this is where I was supposed to be.
She kind of smiles really soft at that. Just something knowing in it, perhaps. I know that feeling. When did you meet Jacques after that? I mean, well, Mare doesn't exactly know everyone straight away, but must have been nice to settle in. Or would there have been contracts or stuff? Just I am getting ahead of myself. I am listening to story.
I met Jacques relatively early on. It is not often that a real kind who is not monstrous in some way comes to stay in town. Most real kind tend to visit him anyway to figure out land contracts. I told him very plainly why I was here, that I was curious and I wanted to see how this town that was so different to any other I'd found in Inkwell operated, and he was gracious enough to let me stay in the manor.
Oh. Well then, that's quite a way to loop together.
Mm.
When did you guys start, well, looping together? What drew you together, I guess?
Jacques is a skeleton, and one with a chronic condition besides. Yet he's so full of life. There is a vivaciousness about him that I have seen nowhere else.
Mm.
And as he speaks, you can tell he is completely besotted. He loves his husband, man. He loves his husband, man.
Lynn specifically asking these questions so that she gets to see him, and it's just like, yes, she wanted this. I'm glad to hear it. You've got a great connection between you two. Peckin' fantastic to witness. We hold on to connections like that. That's the good stuff.
Mm.
Big sippy. Oh no, my tea went cold. That was me, Alex.
Oh,
That
no.
was me.
I think at this point, roll insight for me real quick.
Will do. That is a. Oh, that is good.
Oh ho, hell yeah.
That is good. That is an 18 on the dice. That is a 24.
Nice. Okay. Um he's staring into his cup, with a very soft, loving look on his face that turns slightly pensive. And he's holding his cup in one hand, and his free hand goes to just touch his holy symbol. But as he's holding it, he's kind of unconsciously pressing his hand against the center of his chest. I forget. Has Lynn seen the scar that's there?
He
I
has,
think she has, yeah.
as in the third game of the Corn Maze games.
Yeah.
So her own expression shifts slightly, and there is the sound of like her pens does stop. She just goes. Hasn't all been peaceful times, though, has it?
Nothing ever is.
Hmm.
To have a high, you must also have a corresponding low. And that is true of
Indeed.
many things.
Indeed. To have everything just be static all the time, well, there would be nothing in that.
Hmm. I still don't know what caused him to shift like that. I don't think it was anything we did. We loved him dearly.
Sometimes things happen, and no matter how good we are at watching, how much we love, how much we do everything we can, sometimes things still happen, even to those we love.
That's true.
It's almost the hardest thing, noticing things in those we love. If you don't mind me asking, because this is a good time with tea, just how did you get that scar? And you don't have to answer. I know dredging up old memories.
In his original coup, Sir Bogart had surrounded the town with plants to prevent any reinforcements from the monsters on the outskirts.
Mm.
And he took me hostage to try and force Jacques to comply. In the ensuing fight, I was almost free of my bonds, and he knew he couldn't take us both. So he killed me.
Oh.
Jacques was able to take him down.
Mm.
Jacques is a bard, and he is a very good support caster, but while his healing is effective, he is not capable of raising the dead, not alone. That's not something within his skill set. But Kara is very old and very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So together, they were able to bring me back. But it was not without consequences. It made Jacques very ill for a long time. It took him several weeks to recover. And when I awoke, I had a scar on my chest and new markings in my fur.
I figured as much on that one. Knew there'd be a relation on that front. Was it difficult adjusting?
Not really. There were a few weeks of uncertainty where we weren't entirely sure what all had happened to me. But I remained myself, and with some testing, we realized that, well, in many ways, Kara had blessed me.
Oh.
Real kind aren't like tombs. Though we may have extended lifetimes, far beyond that which a human could measure, but it does still end eventually. That was perhaps the singular concern that Jacques and I had when we first got married. The knowledge that eventually he would outlive me. Provided that nothing happened.
Indeed.
But in bringing me back the way they did, I am just toonish enough that old age will not be the thing that takes me.
Ah. Welcome to the Interesting Design Club, I guess. Or you've been at it longer than I have. Quite a few of us are in that club.
All of us, I believe.
Yeah. And you, with your insight, you don't have to roll with the expression on Lynn's face. She looks at you, and there is something knowing in that. And she does look not quite tired, but there are the corners of her eyes. You can see the lines. And yeah, she picked up on you saying all, and she'd been trying to dance around it herself.
It is not something I lose sleep over.
Mm.
Things tend to happen no matter what we do. And sometimes there is a reason, and sometimes there is not. That is the chaos of life.
Indeed. And sometimes you can make use for things. Blessings, curses, anything in between. Chaos can be used to your advantage, or to your bane if you don't foresee enough.
Well, chaos rather denies foresight. You can be as prepared as you'd like, but if something happens unexpectedly, makes a gesture.
Indeed. All the best contingencies in the world. You can't plan for everything. You just have to do your best.
Indeed.
Merit in adaptability, like plants.
The plant that stands stubborn will often snap over in strong winds. The plant that bends will stay alive.
Mm-hmm. Well put. And hey, plants on their own or plants together. What a good structure. I mean, I know there's phrases about single sticks and bundles, but they got
Everything
a
has
nice.
its place in an ecosystem. Every part is important, no matter how big or how small.
Indeed. That's a nice way of putting it.
I do think it's one of my better proverbs. Proverb? Turn of phrase? Something like that. I'm not a
One of.
linguist, that would be Jacques.
Yeah. Silver tongue, silversmith.
I'm telling him you said that. That's rather good.
I like it. He does do excellent work in silver.
He has a great talent with his hands.
I almost made a joke. I am not going to because that is so terrible. But yes, it is nice to find talents. And I gotta admit, talents like this just it's very different to what I was used to.
Is that so?
Yeah, my family worked with their hands, yes. Stagehands, theatre. We make rigging, we make sets, light work. My cousin Hattie, he does sound work. Really good stuff. We use our words. Blunt as pick, mainly. My uncle taught. He definitely taught me to be blunt, to be subtle as well, to work in the shadows. But He was the one who brought us all together. I looked up to him a lot as a kid. And you know, there's actually something vaguely amusing, which I learnt relatively recently, but you were gonna be the head of your conclave. Little did I know he was planning on making me the head of the hub. It was gonna be a surprise for my 18th birthday. He was gonna, him and my Auntie Mal, who's the current hub head, they were gonna offer it to me as to learn and to train.
I noticed a distinct use of past tense.
It's not my calling. He still has it. I can see it in his eyes when we talk, but he always thought me being a detective was going to be a not quite brief thing, but that I was gonna go out and adventure and get all of that experience and then come back and put all that experience to good use within the family. And I got his blessing to go out, by all means, and he's always been supportive of it. I mean, heck, he trained me himself. I got my flight of passage and everything. That was satisfying.
Your what?
Oh, flight of passage. It's kind of a thing within our family. Usually with my auntie Whiskey, but so we're not isolated, but kind of the opposite of your people. We do travel within different theatres and such and different jobs, but we mainly stay within a hub. That's where I lived most of my life, where Addy, bless him, hermit. Bless Wingless. But we didn't exactly live in the best neighbourhood, and well, there's a reason why we like our reunions to count our heads. So when I started making moves, how old was I when I started? It was pick and heck. It was around when I wanted to do more with the building that would one day become network. So I was about 9. Yeah, 9. But I kept on asking and asking, and well, the world outside is really dangerous. I definitely know that nowadays. And so we have this thing called the Flight of Passage, where when you can show you're capable, you go up against Auntie Whiskey, or I did, and then I went against Old Tor as well, just for funsies. And they make sure that you got the self-defense, that you know how to run and evade or fight or use your tricks and your smarts to outlast them. Outrun, outlast, outfight. All of the above and none of the above as well. But they make sure you know what you're doing. And I did. And I picking won. And then I got to go out exploring. And I got my network.
Roll insight if you'd like.
I will. That is a 16 plus 6.
22. Okay. You mentioned there's a strange look on Asclepius's face. One that he is valiantly trying to keep as a straight face. And he's doing a relatively decent job. But you catch underneath there's this strange expression underneath it that you've never seen on his face necessarily. And he goes, just to clarify, they made you, a 9-year-old at the time, fight 2 fully grown adults.
not together, and I was the one who asked. I was the one who kept asking. Bless my uncle on that front, but yeah. I mean, heck, it was either that or I was gonna sneak out eventually, and on gods, no one wanted that. Yeah, even I can see that in hindsight, that would have been a terrible thing. Eek. But yeah, why?
There's a moment where he kind of pauses, mouth open a little, casting about for the words. Um and he just kind of goes, I am aware that the world can be harsh and at times even downright cruel, but that seems, shall we say, excessive. Surely they were the ones who trained you, yes?
Yeah, it's
Then
my
they
really.
should know how equipped you are at defending yourself. They're you. Forgive me.
It's all
I
right. Be as blunt as you need.
That seems excessive and slightly cruel. It is incredibly important that as you grow and develop, you get experiences outside of your usuals. It is incredibly vital for your growth and development that you experience perspectives different to your own. Making a child fight a grown ass adult just to have the right to do that is. And he does stop there because he doesn't want to offend you, but there is. Ooh. Ooh, he does not approve of this.
There is. She does kind of wave her hand in the. There's been no offense taken so far or anything, but there is honestly vague confusion in her expression. Just the furrowed brow of it. She just goes, they did train me, and my uncle trained me very well. I've got real fond memories of that. He thought I was going to be a monk for years. Well, we didn't actually know what class I was going to grow into. I didn't know until, well, but I can see why it is different. He would have stopped if I'd said so.
And would you have been allowed to leave if you'd said so?
Maybe. We would have worked something out. He listened to me. He was always looking out for me. Is always looking out for me.
Then looking out for someone shouldn't require them beating you in a fucking fight to be allowed to leave.
I mean, given the profession I went into, Asclepius, I gotta admit, I go into a lot of fights. Do get into a lot of fights. Grateful isn't the right word, but
I'm not saying that you shouldn't have been trained. I am very glad that you were, that they didn't send you out unprepared. But you should have been allowed to leave once your training was complete. They should have known from training you that you were ready to go.
I mean, would you let a 9-year-old go out on their own? Or what's the equivalent by your standards, I guess? 15?
Tunes are adults at 5, if I remember correctly.
Eh, flexible. Some grow sooner, some grow older. I mean, Jacques and Corvitz, they came out adult. So I guess it's flexible. But everything we do for family. There was a reason in it. There has to be.
To answer your question, yes. If they were trained, and I knew that they were trained, and I thought that they were ready. The Conclave, if you express a wish to go traveling, more often than not, traveling light harem, you are accompanied by someone who has traveled before. You aren't sent out on your own. However, to allow people to get adjusted to that, they go out on shorter excursions, hunting trips, or resource gathering trips to local towns instead. You are
Build up.
eased slowly into life outside of the Conclave, because we are aware that life outside of the Conclave is different to what you have known if you grew up there. You have adventurers on hand who can tell you things about the outside world. There have been people who go on pilgrimage as young as 15, particularly those of shorter races. Or shorter-lived races, excuse me.
Hmm.
But
She does.
sometimes the excuse "I did it for the sake of my family" is not enough. Not to justify cruelty. And I'm not suggesting that he was cruel. I just... Your uncle is older than I am. He has experience on a level you could not have comprehended when you were 9. No matter how smart you were. There is orders of magnitude difference between the two of you. That was not a fair fight, and it was not a justified fight. Not in my opinion. And as you yourself had said, you had already beat your aunt. By that point, you should have been allowed to leave.
I think he thought she was going easy on me. Now I'm older. I can see she was, but and I've talked to her. I wouldn't want Rai going through it, I admit. He's been through plenty. He's been through horrors. And I don't know.
Then, have you ever considered that she was going easy on you because she was an adult and you were 9?
She does have her arms folded in front of her, and she does look off to one side slightly. Maybe. I can see it. I can see it. It's just... I get why he did it. I get it, and while I wouldn't repeat it, I don't know. He's not a cruel man. He loves so much Asclepius.
You
He
can love
has not.
someone and still hurt them, Lin.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll understand. Maybe one day I'll be able to talk to him more and... Well, eventually when he comes into town, perhaps. Although, actually, no, that would actually go...
That does get an eyebrow raise.
He's... He's a good man, but... The libraries around where we lived weren't the best at information gathering. I didn't know that lichens existed. For most of my life, I'm not gonna lie. Didn't particularly know. And she does gesture with her hand at just trying to encompass town. I knew a lot about real kind. I mean, I knew a lot about different cultures. My family are from a lot of different places, but the spooky and we're still trying to convince him that ghosts exist.
So he's insular and biased.
Perhaps. When he starts getting something, he goes all in. He'll crack open every book, he'll understand every aspect he can, and he is the best support you can ask for in certain circumstances. We are also still trying to convince him that Network isn't my imaginary friend.
So he's stubborn, insular, and biased.
Stubborn is his middle name.
Alright, well...
I'm working on it.
When you get around to having that conversation, the town has your back. If you need help with him, just ask. We
Thanks.
would be more than happy to give a demonstration.
That sounds so ominous. I hope you know. But he's fine. He's my uncle. I know him.
And I trust
I
him.
trust. One day he'll see it. One day he'll see how great this town is. And hey, I got family on multiple fronts nowadays, eh?
That's true.
I gotta admit, I love it. I mean, heck, I'm getting spookier as well. It's fun. I didn't know how fun being spooky was gonna be. I mean, the eye shine is great. And oh, I have so much fun nowadays. I'm getting I'm not exactly as spry as I used to be, but I'm genuinely enjoying this. And hey, I get to torment a frog. And other people. I am fully diving into this. It's marvelous. This place clicked for me. This is home now. I mean, Network's my heart. That can never be replaced. Literally. This town is home. I wouldn't have it any other way. And I wouldn't have any other family. After all, being able to sit and enjoy a good cup of tea, weathering storms together. I'm glad to have you.
I'm glad to have you too. And to think, none of this would have happened if you hadn't been tricked into answering that ad.
God, yes. I still can't believe I was sleep deprived as hell. Hey, all the chaos therein. If I hadn't gone, wouldn't have met my son, wouldn't have met all of you, wouldn't have had the best experiences of my life, and oh, there's gonna be rough ahead of us. We're all gonna weather it. Yeah. Gotta be thankful for sleep deprivation and that ad. Could have done without the incident with the cheese afterwards. Could have done without the cheese.
That is definitely a story I'd be interested in hearing.
You will and you won't. I stunk a cheese for ages. There's a giant cheese vault in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, which I think is dating a jello, which I think... God, does that technically class as one of my kids?
If the jello is the jello that I think it is, which is the one made by Craigery, then if it is dating that jello, then yes, you have a child-in-law. Or a child-in-law-in-law.
There's kind of a look into the middle distance, and then she downs half the tea that's left in like a shot. Well, that's a mental image that's never gonna get out of my head.
He finishes off his own cup, refills it, and offers to refill yours as well.
Please, let me drown in tea and not think of these things.
If you're going to drown in tea, I rather think oolong would be more your style.
Ooh. Would be a good one. No, actually, no, I don't want to drown in tea. I'd be soggy. I would ruin all of your upholstery. She's absolutely just... There was a slight cackle at that as the mental image, and then she's just laughing into her tea.
Asclepius opens his mouth and then thinks the better of the comment he was going to say and closes it again.
Oh, well, come on. Come on, I can see it. Give it. I have heard many things over the years.
That
God.
would be the worst the upholstery has faced.
I changed my mind, put the band-aid back on. No, it's too late. I'm drowning you in fluff. And she just gets up. And she's just like, shuffles round the edge of the table. She's tackling you.
Wait, hold on, cookies.
Oh no, the cookies! Don't worry, we have done way stranger. Just delicately shuffles the cookies over to one side and then just goes there. Put your tea down. You know you want to put your tea down. You know you want monkey.
I don't think that I do. I think this is the only thing protecting me at the moment.
It could be, or I could just tackle you and then us both have to explain later on this.
He puts his cup down.
You are, as always, a very wise man.
Oh, get over here. He's just gonna scruff you and pick you up.
Just absolutely, she just cackles. And it is, for a small monkey, it is a loud, bright laugh. With a hummed undertone at that. Just, she loves you. God. Why did I drink cold tea? Why did I do this to me?
Damn it, Vwild.
You know me. You know me.
Christ.
And Lynn has got many things in mind, many things that she thinks on. She doesn't want to ruin the good moments. So she just absolutely, yeah, she is figuring out how in this scruff hold to be the biggest menace possible. Asclepius is absolutely going to get a tail to the face.
He very delicately moves it aside.
Very deliberate thwacker again.
Alright. If that's how you're going to be. Uh, fucking brings his own tail up to fucking tickle you with.
Ah! Ah! God, that's cheating! That feels like cheating! Ah!
You were the one who started it.
And I'm gonna be the one who finishes it!
Oh, no, no, no. I do believe that's my job. Or rather, that's their job. At which point, an ambulata pops out of the table and fucking tackles you.
Ah! Ow! Ambush! Ambush!
You're in our domain now, monkey.
Ah! She does let off a few swears in just like giant at that, just the... Nobody expects this.
Nobody expects the Kara Inquisition.
She just loses it. She can't hug both things at once. She tries. She's hugging the tail as best as she can and the doll at the same time. Just think, this'll work. This is a plan. God almighty. I love them, Your Honor. I absolutely love them. Is there anything else we had planned?
Not unless your list has any more questions.
Mm-hmm. There was one thing she perhaps thought of bringing up. But I think she's not going to ruin the moment. So instead, she is just going to do something. Just once everything's all said and done, once all the tea and that sort of stuff's drunk, once she's leaving, there will just be 7 biscuits left. That's all. Eh. I hope you enjoyed everything today, and we're gonna do this more, right?
Oh, certainly.
I'm really looking forward to doing this more. We'll see what everything brings, but this time next year, same harvest might be good. We'll see what the different flavors are.
True. But we'll wait until next year where I can achieve the same harvest next week.
True. But I like making long-term plans. Means we're gonna get to see them.
That's a good way of putting it.
Indeed. Sorry. But anyway, I shouldn't keep you too long, eh? But
Well,
I love you.
nothing else planned.
Huh. What games do you like?
Well, that
I know
entirely depends on what you're talking about. Although I do have to veto Uno if we're bringing Kara into this.
Funny you should say that. We also have it vetoed in my house because Network hoards the +4s. She likes them. She somehow got a glitter at one stage.
I wonder if that's a genius look, I think, because Kara does the exact same thing.
We'll have to find out at some stage. And definitely more playdates. Straight up. I mean, God, I apologise for the small vibrations you guys have been getting from Network recently, by the way. She's full of a lot of energy. I think she wants a growth spurt. She just can't quite make it yet. I'm probably going to have to draw a contract up with... She's been trying to eat a building. I feel I should let you know this. She's been telling me she wants to eat buildings. So, word of warning on that front, I guess?
Well, if she talks to Kara, I'm sure the two of them would be able to find a building for her to eat.
Brilliant. And also good that that's normal. I was starting to be vaguely concerned. I knew it wouldn't be cannibalism. At the same time, you do just kind of sit there and go, honey, where did you get this craving from?
Young genius loci, particularly ones that are as interconnected as network tend to be, often grow beyond the boundaries of their building, and sometimes they can grow a little bit too much.
Mm.
It's like a snake shedding its skin, but inverted.
Mm.
Tried saying that sentence 10 times fast.
We could get Jacques to say it. He's really good.
Oh, yes. He probably could as well, the bastard.
He really... Hearing you swear is fantastic. But yeah, we could indeed. But yeah, there's like, as far as I know, eight images so far now. I'm starting to try and read the papers by Faber. Really, really nice guy. Really good guy. I did scare the heck out of him the first time I met him. Well, we already know about him because of, everything that happened with Genius Loci and that sort of department.
Mm.
But yeah, decent guy. I scared him, he threw a book at me, I caught it. It was great.
Well, I think that's fair, given everything that happened with the Genius Loci. And there is a distinctly unimpressed look on his face.
He was trying to do good, but yeah, no. He's learned. He's learned, and if he did try anything, yeah. No, he knows what I'd do.
He was incredibly short-sighted and almost did major harm. But everything was fixed in the end, so I'm not holding it too badly against him.
Indeed. And I don't think... I think if he tried again, it will go worse, but... I think we got better control now. And good things came from it. Except when Network tried to go in the tumble dryer.
Oh dear.
She's been fascinated by it for over a decade. It was certainly an experience for I to come in as I was doing paperwork and ask about the nature of people in tumble dryers and then having to go and rescue her because she was... I love her. She is so smart. Some of the time, she doesn't have cotton socks, but bless her. Please, someone bless her. I need to become a cleric so I can bless her. I don't think it's possible to become a cleric, but I'll do it.
If she'd like to be spun, Kara does have several playgrounds with merry-go-rounds.
Oh. Oh, that'd actually be a good day out. And roll me Arcana for a second, Asclepius.
I will try. Gonna add guidance to that. Alright, well, that's not bad. Arcana. So, +2. 15?
Yeah, that works. Lynn kind of pauses for a moment, as though she's thinking. And then there is just the ever so slight tint of gold to her pupils for a moment. And then she fluffs and goes, oh yeah, she's delighted. Yeah, okay, oh, that's a rush. That's a rush. And she just does slightly double over just the absolute level of... Because of Arcana, because of how you know Jacques and Kara interact, all that sort of stuff, you can just tell all of a sudden Lynn has had an influx of energy. It's like she's all of a sudden shotgun like 3 things of Red Bull.
Christ.
Alright, we're packing that up in a box. We're gonna bless. We're gonna spin. Doesn't it? Like the stuff. Does sound nice. But anyway, cards or chess. I play a mean game of chess. I'm very good at chess. I know how to guard the king.
I will admit, I've not played chess in some time, although I was never very good at it to begin with.
Oh, good! You wanna place bets?
Absolutely not. I'm not that foolish.
Fine. Take the joy out of my little monkey life.
You were just getting a flat look.
Would you like me to be more dramatic?
Absolutely not.
Alright. Well, this is your house. Oh, yeah, it's your house. Dealer's choice on a game. Some chaos. Let's make a day out of it.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Alright. Okay, I just clicked so much of my design. Why do I stretch like this? I have problems. And then she's just power walking.
Methinks you should probably speak to Ava. Get some better stretches.
I mean, I've got some good ones. Dance is pecking useful. Dance has been great. I mean, shit. Have you seen, like, I have got full mobility on my left shoulder. I have got skill. I know how to do good stretches. Nowadays, bit peck. I'm getting there.
Jacques dances frequently. You should see if he should give you lessons.
Oh. That'd be nice. Sharing these sorts of things. Another thing on the list. Many different plans for many different days. And hey, we get good. Maybe that'll be a good thing for next Halloween.
True.
We're gonna have a lot more plans for a lot more years. We're not done yet.
I will drink to that. He does take a sip of his tea.
Asclepius, roll me insight.
Oh boy, okay. I think I answered this one as well, because that was a serious time. And a good thing that I did. That's 26.
Nice.
I mean, not really, but yeah.
Is when it beats certain things, so yes, but the way Lynn looks at you, she does laugh. You've seen how Lynn looks in certain times. As though she's working to memorize every moment. As though she's committing it to the best memory she can. And she's looking at you, happy in this moment, drinking tea in this room that she finds the safest out of any outside of network. Or perhaps even then, as she always comes here when she has nightmares. But it's not quite resignation, it's not quite acceptance, it's not quite grief or anything of those things in between. But she is looking at you in this moment, and she is repeatedly making promises for a future. And they are focused on you.
We will live to see our twilight future. But you need to be there too.
I plan on it.
Good.
I'm sorry.
Waffle?
Just that I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. But you're forgiven anyway.
She goes to say something, and then she stops. And then it's a slight shake of her head. Thank you. You take care of yourself as best you can through everything, alright?
I say the same to you. of the two of us, one has a rather much better track record with that.
True. I do worry. Rule of 3 and all of that, but I've spent my life being scared. I'm practically made of fear, Asclepius. We're gonna get out of this. Even if some things happen that we're not pleased with. Or that hurt.
We will make it out. Anything else can be sorted. Maybe
Indeed.
not fixed, but dealt with.
Indeed. Yeah. So, games?
Yes. Let's go to the parlor. That's where we keep most of the games.
Ooh! We shall have much merriment, much chaos, and no one shall eat any of the pieces.
That's certainly true.
I have so many stories on that front. So many ridiculous stories. And then she goes as though she's gonna power walk out, and then she thinks and just goes, nah, I don't want to walk. And just goes over to you and just climbs.
Yeah, he'll boost her up onto his shoulder.
Hey! Oh, this is great. I'm up in the tree.
Mind out the antlers.
They are the best, and well, they are one of the 2 best antlers I know now. Gregory Gregory has wonderful antlers. Network is so pleased with them. Network has got so many plans for those antlers. I can hear her humming. She keeps on deciding which is the best decoration to give him every morning. He's gonna have so many jingles. They trade out in the night, but he's gonna have so many.
And how many times has he hit them on door frames?
Oh, so many. He had this wonderful talk with Rai just a few days ago. Real sweet. Oh, the bond energy is so high after it, but you could tell when he was going in by the sheer thunk. I think he keeps on trying to go into rooms. It's great when he does the morning honey, and then he just absolutely kadonks. It's so fun.
Tell him I said to angle his head slightly as he walks through doorways.
I love him. Do you think he's going to remember that?
Probably not, but it's worth the effort.
Indeed. And hey, you got taller antlers. You got much taller antlers. How do you cope with it? How many incidents have you had over here? Indoors.
I am far too old for that kind of shenanigans.
Methinks there were probably young Asclepius incidents.
You thinks incorrectly. I grew up in a forest.
You can get stuff caught there. I should know. This fur has been full of twigs. I have been a pine cone. Tell me your tales. Has any bird tried to nest in them? Please.
The fur is approximately as thick as... And he pauses, trying to think of a suitable analogy.
You could lose your entire forearm in this fluff. Do it. I think it's great. It's also slightly hydrophobic, which is why bath times are terrible.
Dust baths.
Which I do now. They're great. They are so much better on the design, especially as showers. Showers work for me better, except now my design's picked and turns out high blast. No, but oh, sand baths are the best. Asclepius, you gotta try sand baths. You gotta do it.
Unfortunately, my fur is not thick enough to benefit.
But would you enjoy being dusty?
I have been dusty before. It is not the most annoying thing in the world, but it is not an experience I'd like to repeat more than I have to.
I mean, you do get brush time afterwards. Brush time's nice.
perhaps, but it is not always worth the matting of my fur that happens should the dust get wet.
Oh, yeah, no. That's a nightmare. Matted fur and dyed fur. Dyed fur is also sucky. I have tales on that front. And she does just give the dramatic look off into the distance like I have been in the wars.
You realize you've given Kara ideas, right?
Ha!
Enjoy that when that happens.
Kara,
Hopefully she
please!
won't pick anything too gaudy.
Kara, please go with pink. I at least know I look good in it.
There is no response from the house.
Heck you! Just the most heartfelt from within her chest. And then she just thonks her head into your chest. And yeah, she has kind of tried to distract you, so perhaps you'd go into a door frame. I don't think that's going to work.
No, this is his house, motherfucker. He knows what the doors are.
I know, it's reflex at the same time, she hoped.
Well, you hoped poorly. You're now in the parlor.
Yay!
And you are being tossed onto a couch.
Whee! She does full on give the dramatic wee as she goes. It's the couch. It's the couch. Berries. Gods. I think that might be a good place to zoom out. Just these two enjoying a good time in the parlor, enjoying their games.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
That